Good morning, dear friend. As the first light of morning stretches across the sky, a quiet stillness settles over the world. The air is cool, the streets are calm, and everything seems to hold its breath. This is more than just the start of a new day. Morning carries a sacred weight, a holy invitation. Before the noise rises and demands press in, there is a window of grace, a moment when our hearts can turn towards something deeper. If we choose to pause here, in the silence of dawn, we might hear something we have missed in the rush, the gentle whisper of God inviting us to begin again. Maybe you are listening right now with a heavy heart. Maybe you did not sleep well, or you woke up with thoughts that felt too loud. You might be battling fear about the future, grief over something you have lost, or the quiet ache of disappointment that keeps returning. Picture this. A man sits alone at his kitchen table while the rest of the house sleeps. He lost his job last week. The bills keep stacking up. He has not told his kids yet, does not know how to explain it. He stares down at his cold coffee, his hands shaking just slightly. The silence in the room is deafening. Shame creeps in. Fear tightens around his chest. And even though he wants to believe that everything will work out, he can seem to feel it right now. Maybe you have been in that place. Maybe you are there today. That is why this moment matters. Because in this fragile space, when our strength runs low and our questions outnumber our answers, prayer is not just a habit, it is a lifeline. It is not a ritual reserved for perfect people. It is a rescue for real people, people like us, who are trying to make it through the day with faith still intact. Morning prayer is more than a routine. It is a response to the one who sees us, even when we are struggling. It is where we lay down our pride and admit, I can do this on my own. And when we do, something shifts. Peace begins to push back fear. Strength begins to rise from the ashes of weariness, takes root in the soil of honesty. This prayer journey you are about to begin is not short or shallow. It is rich. It is deep. It spans 24 chapters, each one a conversation between your soul and the God who never sleeps. Together, we will walk through confession, healing, boldness, patience, endurance, forgiveness, and trust. Every chapter is designed to guide you through the emotional and spiritual terrain of life, because real life requires real strength. Some chapters will help you breathe again. Others will challenge you to let go. Some will feel like rest. Others will feel like war. But all of them will lead you closer to the heart of God. This is not about saying all the right words or pretending to be okay. This is about showing up with whatever you have got tired, unsure, hopeful, or broken, and letting God meet you there. The same God who painted the sunrise you see now is the one who offers new mercy every morning. His strength is not reserved for a select few. It is available to you right here, right now. So pause, breathe, let the quiet of this hour wrap around you. Lay down what you have been carrying. You are not alone. You do not have to prove yourself. You are loved, and you are invited. The door is open. The light is breaking through. and the conversation is about to begin. Welcome to a new day. Welcome to prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning I come to you not with strength, but with need. I come not with clarity, but with confusion. I do not have all the answers. I do not feel bold or prepared or full of courage. I woke up with a tired heart and a restless mind. My thoughts are heavy before my feet have even touched the floor. I feel the weight of things I cannot control, the ache of things I cannot fix, the tension of things unresolved. I did not expect to start this day already worn down, but here I am, looking for something more than what I have in myself. I do not come to pretend or to perform. I come to be honest. I come to lay everything bare before you. I do not want to hide behind routine or strong words when my soul feels fragile. You see me anyway. You know the thoughts that swirl. You know the tightness in my chest. You know how tired I am of pretending to be okay when I am not. I do not need to impress you. I only need to come, and I am here now, whispering these words in the quiet of morning, asking you to be near. I feel small in the face of this day. I do not feel ready for the conversations ahead, the responsibilities waiting, the uncertainties looming. I know people are counting on me. I know I need to show up. But God, I do not know how to carry everything I am carrying and still move forward with grace. I do not know how to be strong when all I feel is stretched thin. I need you in this first breath of the day, not later, not eventually, but right now. You say you are close to the brokenhearted. You say your power is made perfect in weakness. So I am not going to try to be more than I am. I will not try to make this prayer sound polished. I will speak to you from this place of weakness and trust that you are listening. I need to believe that you meet me here, not when I have pulled myself together, not when the plan is figured out, but here in the raw and real. Maybe I am not the only one praying this way today. Maybe someone else is opening their eyes and feeling the same sting of disappointment, the same sense of dread, the same questions about how to keep going. And if so, I lift them up too. I ask you to meet them as you meet me. Let none of us walk into this day believing we have to do it all alone. Let your nearness be felt like light through the window, like breath in our lungs. I am asking for something simple and deep. I am asking for strength to take one step. I am asking for courage to speak with kindness even when I feel frustrated. I am asking for peace in the places where anxiety keeps knocking at the door. I am asking for rest in the middle of activity, for calm in the middle of noise. I do not ask for a perfect day. I ask for your presence in the middle of an imperfect one. Sometimes I wonder if my weakness is too much. Sometimes I feel like I should be further along by now. But what if this is exactly where I need to be to know you more deeply? What if this moment, right here in the quiet, is not failure but foundation? What if you are building something in me that starts with being honest about how much I need you? I have been trying so hard to hold it all together. Maybe now is the time to let go and let you hold me. I do not need grand answers right now. I need grace. I need the kind of love that does not flinch when I say, I am afraid. I need the kind of comfort that does not try to fix everything but sits with me until I can breathe again. I need to remember that I am not defined by how strong I look, but by who I belong to. And I belong to you. That is my hope this morning. Not that I will be enough, but that you already are. If you never get tired, then maybe I can rest. If you never forget me, then maybe I can stop trying to earn your attention. If you are already working, then maybe I do not need to figure it all out today. I am allowed to be small. I am allowed to begin again. I am allowed to say, I do not know what to do and still believe you will guide me. So I give you this morning. I give you my uncertainty, my fatigue, my scattered thoughts. I place them in your hands. You have seen me at my best and at my worst, and still you stay. That alone gives me courage. I will not wait until I feel strong to come to you. I will come now, while I am weak, while my hands tremble, while my heart feels fragile. I believe this is where real faith begins, not in the moments when I am sure, but in the moments when I cling to you, even when I cannot see the path ahead. So I am here, awake and aware of my need, awake and willing to trust, awake and hoping that today will be carried not by my own strength, but by yours. Whatever this day holds, I will not face it alone. That is enough for now. That is more than enough. Father, I am still here, still in the same place of need, but now something inside me is reaching deeper. After letting go of the strength I thought I needed to fake, I feel the quiet H rise in me like a voice that can no longer stay silent. It is not polished. It is not calm. It is not composed. It is a cry, a raw, etching cry for help, not for later, not for someday, but right now, right here. Father, I need you, not as a distant thought or a comforting idea, but as the living help I cannot do without. Yesterday's strength is gone. Yesterday's peace has faded. I am standing in the middle of real life, and it is louder than my thoughts can handle. I do not want to pretend that I can walk through this day without you. I cannot afford to fake peace when my heart is in pieces. Cannot fake calm when my nerves are fraying before the sun has fully risen. I need you, and I need you to be near. This is not a polite request. It is not whispered out of routine. It is a cry from the core of my soul, and I know you are not offended by that. You do not need carefully constructed sentences to hear me. You hear the tremble behind my words. You know the storm underneath my skin. So I will not hold back now. I cry out to you with every thread of hope I have left. I cry out for clarity in the fog of confusion. I cry out for steadiness when my footing feels unsure. I cry out for a voice when silence wraps around my chest like a weight. I cry out for rescue before I drown in things no one else can see. This is not drama. This is not exaggeration. This is real. I am not okay, and I do not want to pretend I am, just to make the day look tidy. I cry out for help in the places no one else knows about, the fears I do not speak, the memories I try to avoid, the doubts I hide behind smiles. Father, you know them all. You know every place where I feel undone. You know every wall I have built to keep pain out, and every crack in those walls where the pain still leaks in. I cry out for help there. I cry out for you to meet me where I cannot seem to meet myself. You are not a God who stands far off. waiting for me to fix everything before coming close. You are the one who leans in when I am gasping. You are the one who runs toward the cry. You are the one who hears the unspoken pain and calls it precious. So I will not be ashamed of needing you this much. I will not be ashamed that I am crying again when I thought I had moved on. This is not weakness. This is surrender. I am not crying out for you to fix everything in one moment. I am crying out for you to come into this moment. I am asking you to breathe into the space I cannot fill, to lift the burden I have tried too long to carry alone. I do not need a perfect plan. I need presence. I need to know that when I whisper for help, heaven listens. I need to know that this prayer is not just echoing back to me, but landing in the heart of a Father who cares. Sometimes the world tells me I should be stronger than this by now, that I should not need to cry, that I should have figured out how to carry my pain more neatly. But you do not shame me for feeling overwhelmed. You do not mock my desperation. You see the tears I try to hold back. You catch the ones that fall without warning. You do not turn away when I break. You come closer. And that gives me enough courage to keep calling. Even now, as I speak these words, I believe you are already responding. Maybe not in the way I expect, maybe not with sudden solutions, but with steady love, with reminders I cannot explain, with strength I do not recognize until I look back and see I did not fall apart after all. Maybe your help does not always look like escape. Maybe it looks like the grace to stay standing, the breath to keep going, the stillness to make one small choice that turns the whole day around. Father, I am not asking you to remove the hard things. I am asking you to enter them, to be the calm in the chaos, the whisper in the noise, the anchor when the ground shakes. Come into the frustration. Come into the fatigue. Come into the grief that catches me off guard. I do not want to face any of it without you, and I do not want to wait until the next crisis to reach for you. I want to make this cry for help my first response, not my last resort. Help me when I forget how to hope. Help me when the weight of what if feels heavier than truth. Help me when I want to shut down and disappear. Help me when the next step looks too uncertain to take. Help me when I feel unworthy of help. Help me when I do not even know what kind of help I need. Father, you know all of it. You know what I cannot say. You know what I am too afraid to admit. And still you stay, still you love, still you respond. So I will keep crying out not because I am falling apart, but because I believe you are holding the pieces. I will cry out in the middle of this mess, not because I have no faith, but because I believe you hear me even in the mess. I will cry out not as a sign of failure, but as a sign of trust. You are not annoyed by my need. You are drawn to it. And that truth holds me together right now more than anything else. You are the help I need, not in theory, not later, but now, in this breath, in this beat of my heart, in this exact moment where I feel both fragile and brave enough to ask for you. So I ask, loudly if I must, softly if I can. But always, I ask because I believe you are near, and I believe that my cry is not lost in the wind. It is heard, it is welcomed, and it matters to you. Father, even as I cry out to you from the depths of this moment, something within me begins to remember. It is not loud or dramatic. It is more like a flicker in the dark, a quiet warmth reminding me that this is not the first time I have needed you this much, and it is certainly not the first time you have met me in that need. I remember, Father, maybe not every detail, maybe not with perfect clarity, but somewhere deep inside, my soul holds the memory of when you came through before. I remember the nights I thought I would break, and yet somehow I did not. I remember the mornings I could barely get out of bed, and yet my feet still touched the floor. I remember the hours when I was certain nothing would change, and then suddenly, something did. I remember the prayers I whispered without hope, the ones I almost did not say because they felt too small or too broken. And still, you answered, not always in the way I expected, not always on the timeline I begged for, but you answered. You have been faithful, even when I forgot to notice. You have been kind, even when I doubted. You have been steady, even when I was falling apart. I look back now, not to cling to the past, but to let it anchor me in the present. If you were there then, surely you are here now. If you carried me before, surely you will carry me again. This is not wishful thinking. This is truth carved into my life. Father, help me not to forget. When fear clouds my view, bring back the moments of rescue. When anxiety grips my chest, bring back the stillness you once gave. When I question if you are near, remind me of all the times you have been closer than breath. Let the evidence of your goodness rise, like a song in my soul, louder than doubt, stronger than despair. I need those reminders today. I need the past to speak life into this present. I think of the time you brought peace into my chaos, when everything felt like it was falling apart, but something unexplainable held me together. I think of the people you sent at just the right moment, a text, a prayer, a simple word that pierced through the noise and reminded me I was not alone. I think of the days when I did not have the strength to pray, and yet somehow the tears became prayers of their own. And you heard every one. You are not a stranger to my story. You were there in every chapter, even the ones I tried to skip over or erase. You were there when no one else saw the struggle. You were present in the moments I called silent. And now, as I stand in another uncertain place, I call on the same God who showed up then. Not a new God, not a different God, the same God, the same faithfulness, the same love that has never let me go. Let these memories become more than comfort. Let them become strength. Let them stir something awake in me that fear tried to bury. Let them remind me that I am not starting from nothing. I am standing on a foundation already built by your faithfulness. The winds may blow again. The waves may rise again. But this time, I am not forgetting the last storm you calmed. This time, I will not let fear rewrite what you already proved to be true. Sometimes I feel guilty that I forget so easily, that I let today's problem overshadow yesterday's miracle. But even in that, you are gracious. You do not shame me for being human. Instead, you gently remind me again and again, not through thunder or spectacle, but through soft echoes, a familiar scripture, a sunrise like the one you gave me when I needed hope, a quiet moment that carries your fingerprints. I want to be someone who remembers well, not to live in the past, but to carry the past forward like a torch when the road grows dark. I want to let gratitude shape how I walk through today, not because everything is easy, but because you have already proven yourself trustworthy. If you were good before, you are good still. And if I believed then, I can believe again. Father, show me how to see my life through the lens of your mercy. Show me how to recall not just the pain, but the presence that carried me through the pain. Remind me that behind every closed door I once feared, another door opened. Behind every ending I did not understand, a new beginning eventually unfolded. And in the moments when nothing made sense, somehow I came out stronger than I went in. I am not here today by accident. I am not standing in this place simply because I managed to push through. I am here because you sustained me, because you never walked away, because you whispered to my soul even when I could not hear you. And though I may have doubted, you remained. Though I may have wandered, you stayed near. That is a love I do not deserve, but one I gladly receive again today. So I take a moment to breathe, to reflect, to let my spirit rest in remembrance, not to escape the present, but to gather courage from what I have already walked through, to gather wisdom from wounds that have healed, to gather hope from moments that felt hopeless. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. If you did it before, you can do it again. Let this memory become my momentum. Let this history become my hope. Let this reflection steady my heart as I step into the unknown. You are not just the God of great miracles. You are the God of quiet rescues, of gentle redirections, of steady hands when mine have lost grip. I remember it all, and because of that, I will not give up now. You have been good, you are still good, and no matter what this day brings, I trust you will be good again. Father, the memories of your past deliverance stir something steady in me, and from that place of remembrance, I sense the need to be made ready for what lies ahead. I cannot live only on what you have done before. I need your hand upon me again this morning, shaping me, preparing me, sharpening me like a tool that must be fit for its purpose. It is not enough to carry the memory of rescue if I am not also equipped for the work and the trials that this day will surely bring. So, Father, I ask you now, do not leave me dull or unprepared. Touch me with your presence and make me ready. I think of how easily a blade grows blunt if it is never tended to. How even the strongest tool loses its edge if it is left neglected in the corner. In the same way, my heart becomes heavy, my spirit becomes weary, and my thoughts become scattered when I try to walk into the day without seeking you first. I may still function, but the work suffers. The effort increases while the fruit decreases. So, Father, sharpen me in the quiet of this morning. Sharpen my faith until it cuts through doubt. Sharpen my patience until it slices through frustration. Sharpen my hope until it pierces through despair. I know this sharpening is not always comfortable. It may come with the friction of surrender, the grinding of letting go, the sparks of conviction. Yet I would rather feel the edge of your hand shaping me than stumble into the day unprepared. Better to be pressed under your care than to crumble under the weight of my own weakness. Father, let every moment of this prayer be a place where you are renewing me, like a craftsman with steady hands restoring the edge of his tool before he begins the task. Prepare me to listen before I speak. Prepare me to see what is hidden in plain sight. Prepare me to resist temptation before it grows stronger than my will. Prepare me to love when irritation rises, to forgive when memory stings, to endure when the path feels endless. I cannot rely on natural instinct alone. I need divine readiness. I need the touch that comes only from time spent in your presence. I ask that you sharpen my mind so I do not wander into confusion. Let clarity rise where fog once lingered. Let wisdom replace hesitation. I ask that you sharpen my emotions so that they do not rule over me with waves of fear or bursts of anger. Let calmness govern me, a calmness rooted not in denial but in trust. I ask that you sharpen my spirit so that I discern your whisper even in the noise. And I walk in step with you, no matter how distracting the world becomes. Father, I admit how quickly I dull myself when I chase after lesser things, how easily I spend time on words that do not give life, on worries that do not solve, on thoughts that only wear me down. These distractions leave me blunt and tired. They drain me before the day has even begun. Forgive me for returning again and again to empty places for strength. Draw me back here, to this moment with you, where my edges are restored. The day ahead may not reveal every challenge yet, but I know they will come. There will be moments that test my patience, circumstances that stretch my faith, people who demand more than I think I have to give. Let me not meet those moments dull and unprepared. Let me meet them sharpened by your Spirit, sharpened by time in your presence, sharpened by the truth that you have equipped me for every good work you call me to. I do not sharpen myself by striving harder. I am sharpened by surrender. I am sharpened by stillness in your hands. I am sharpened by scripture that reminds me of your promises, by whispers as of truth that cut through the lies, by quiet moments where your Spirit breathes new strength into me. So let this morning be that moment. Let me not rise from this prayer unchanged. Let me rise renewed, restored, sharpened for what is coming. Father, teach me to see the small choices of today as opportunities to stay sharp. Teach me to pause when I feel scattered, to return to you when I feel worn, to let gratitude hone my perspective when discouragement tries to dull me. Let every act of faith be a stroke of the sharpener across my soul. Let every word of kindness, every moment of trust, every decision of integrity add to the readiness of my spirit. And when I falter, when I forget, when I walk into the day with edges dulled by distraction, bring me back again. Let me never be so far gone that I cannot be restored. You are the craftsman who never gives up on his tools, the gardener who never abandons his vineyard, the father who never stops shaping his child. I rest in that truth, even as I ask you to press deeply into me again. So I step forward from memory into readiness, from remembering what you have done into preparing for what you will do. I am not left to face this day blunt and wary. I am not left to wander aimlessly. I am being shaped, sharpened, and equipped by the hands that formed me. And with that, Father, I will take the next step into this day. Father, as you sharpen me and prepare me for the path ahead, I cannot ignore the weight that clings to my soul. Readiness is not only about being equipped for the tasks of this day. It is also about being free from what holds me back. I feel the heaviness of mistakes, of words I regret, of thoughts I let linger too long, of actions I wish I could undo. I know I cannot carry these things with me and expect to walk lightly into the morning. They must be brought into the light of your mercy. And so I come with confession. Father, I admit I have wandered in ways no one else can see. I have carried thoughts that grew sharp inside me. Hurting my spirit, though they never left my lips. I have spoken in frustration when I should have been patient. I have chosen silence when courage was needed. Wasted time that could have been given to what matters. I have sought my own comfort rather than extending love. These are not hidden from you, even if I tried to hide them from myself. You see the corners of my heart where shadows remain. You know where I stumble, and still you call me to bring it all before you. I confess that I often try to clean myself up before coming to you, as if I could scrub away the stains of my own soul. But deep down I know I cannot. My efforts may make the outside look tidy, but the inside remains weary. Only you can cleanse me fully. Only your forgiveness can reach the places I cannot touch. So I stop pretending I can fix myself. I place the truth of who I am in your hands. Not just the parts that look good, but the parts that ache with guilt and failure. Father, confess the bitterness I have let grow where forgiveness should have lived. I confess the envy that slips into my thoughts when I compare myself to others. I confess the pride that whispers I do not need help when I clearly do. I confess the fear that I let guide my choices more than faith. Each of these weighs me down, dulls my spirit, and distances me from the freedom you want for me. I do not want to carry them anymore. I release them to you now. I remember the promise that if I confess my sins, you are faithful and just to forgive me and to cleanse me from all unrighteousness. I hold on to that truth because without it I would crumble under the weight of my own failures. You do not forgive reluctantly. You do not cleanse partially. When you wash, you make new. When you forgive, you release fully. That kind of grace is beyond my comprehension, but it is the grace I need this morning. Father, let your cleansing reach every hidden place. Wash over the harsh memories that still sting. Cleanse the regrets that keep me awake at night. Purify the motives behind my choices so that I act not out of selfishness, but out of love. Let nothing remain that poisons my heart or clouds my vision of you. Let me rise from this moment unchained, lightened, restored. I do not want forgiveness to be just a concept I recite. I want it to be the reality I live in. I want to walk in the freedom of knowing that the stains of yesterday do not define who I am today. I want to breathe without the suffocating weight of shame. I want to live with a heart unburdened, ready to give and receive love without hesitation. Father, only you can do this in me. Only you can make me whole again. As I confess, I also choose to forgive. I cannot ask for mercy while I hold others in the prison of my resentment. So I release those who hurt me. I release the bitterness I have nurtured. I release the anger I thought would protect me, but only poisoned me. This release is not easy. It does not mean the wounds never happened. It does not erase the pain, but is place those wounds in your hands instead of letting them fester in mine. And in that release, I find a cleansing, not just for my own sins, but for the heaviness of carrying the wrongs done to me. Father, let this confession not end in shame, but in freedom. Let me taste the joy of a heart that has been washed clean. Let me walk with the lightness of someone who knows they are forgiven. Let my thoughts be renewed, my emotions healed, my soul steadied. I do not deserve this gift, but you give it freely, and so I receive it, not with pride, but with gratitude. I rise from this confession, not as someone perfect, but as someone made new. I rise not carrying the dirt of yesterday, but walking in the mercy of today. I rise not defined by failure, but defined by grace. Father, thank you for hearing me, for not turning away, for meeting me even in the mess of my heart. This is where true freedom begins, and I step into it now. Father, as I rise from the place of confession and cleansing, I feel lighter, as though chains have been released from my soul. Yet I know forgiveness is not the end of this journey. It is the beginning of a new posture. Being cleansed creates space within me, but that space is not meant to remain empty. It longs to be filled, not by fleeting emotions or passing strength, but by your very spirit. Father, I do not want to walk through this day relying only on what I know or what I feel. I need the Spirit you have promised. The Comforter, the Guide, the Helper who breathes life into weary hearts and makes all things new. Holy Spirit, I invite you now. Come and take your place within me this morning. Fill the corners of my heart that were once crowded with fear and shame. Occupy the space that guilt once claimed. Bring warmth to the cold places, light to the dim corners, life to the silent chambers where despair once whispered. I do not want a partial filling. I long for your fullness, for the abundance of your presence to shape everything I do and everything I am today. I invite you to guide my steps. Let me not stumble into choices driven by impulse or fear. Whisper wisdom when decisions come quickly. Steady me when circumstances shift suddenly. Help me recognize the difference between my own hurried thoughts and your quiet direction. I know that left on my own, I can misstep, but with you, even the most uncertain path becomes a place of confidence. Because you go before me, I invite you to dwell in my words. Let what I speak carry truth and grace, not bitterness or carelessness. Teach me when to remain silent and when to speak boldly. Let my voice be an instrument of encouragement, of comfort, of honesty wrapped in compassion. Guard me from speak to be heard rather than speaking to give life. Holy Spirit, place your hand upon my tongue so that my words reflect the presence of the one who lives in me. I invite you to move in my thoughts. Clear away the fog of distraction and the noise of worry. Replace anxiety with clarity. Plant seeds of truth where lies once grew unchecked. Let my mind be renewed not by fleeting ideas, but by the steady stream of your truth. When old doubts creep in, drown them out with reminders of who I am in you. Let my imagination be sanctified, so that even the pictures I hold in my mind are aligned with hope and not despair. I invite you to strengthen my emotions. You know how easily they sway me, how quickly they rise and fall like waves in a storm. Holy Spirit, anchor my heart, calm my fears before they overtake me. Quiet my anger before it burns through my peace. Restore joy where heaviness has lingered too long. Wrap me in comfort where grief still aches. Let me not be ruled by what I feel, but guided by your steady presence, which does not change when circumstances do. I invite you to shape my actions. Let every step I take today be marked by integrity, kindness, and patience. Keep me from rushing ahead of your timing or lagging behind in hesitation. Teach me to serve without seeking recognition, to give without calculating cost, to love without expecting return. Let my hands be ready to help, my feet willing to go where you lead, my whole being surrendered to your gentle command. Holy Spirit, I invite you not as a guest who comes and goes, but as the very breath of my life. I do not want to confine you to quiet moments of prayer, and then forget you in the business of the day. Walk with me into every room, every conversation, every decision, every hidden battle. Remind me that you are not distant but present, not occasional but constant. Let me carry this awareness as surely as I carry the air in my lungs. I know that inviting you means surrendering control. It means loosening my grip on plans I thought were secure, letting go of habits I clung to for comfort, releasing my need to have every answer. This surrender frightens me at times, because I like to hold tightly to what I can see. But I trust that when I release my hold, I fall into stronger hands. So I open my life to you again. Take the lead, direct my steps, shape my desires, mold me into someone who reflects the one who saved me. Father, let this filling of your Spirit not be a fleeting moment I soon forget. Let it be a continuous flow, renewed hour by hour, reminding me that I cannot live on yesterday's encounter. I need fresh breath, fresh vision, fresh power for today. When I grow weary, refill me. When I become distracted, draw me back. When I feel empty, pour again. Do not let me live a half-filled life. Let me overflow with your Spirit so that others are touched by what spills from me. This is my prayer this morning, not to walk alone, not to rely on myself, not to leave this time unchanged. I am cleansed and ready. Now I ask to be filled, to be guided, to be held. Holy Spirit, come. Fill me again until every part of me reflects the presence of the Father who loves me and the Savior who gave himself for me. Let today be lived not in my strength, but in yours. Father, as I invite your Spirit to fill me, I realize that much of the battle I face is not visible to the eyes of others. It is not the public struggles that weigh me down the most, but the quiet wars within, the ones I carry silently when no one else is watching. These hidden battles are often more exhausting than what I show on the surface, and I know I cannot face them alone. Father, I need strength for the unseen fights that rage in my thoughts, my desires, and my heart. I confess that I often present a calm face, while inside I am unraveling. I smile when others are near, but when the door closes, the weight of unspoken fears and temptations settles heavy on my chest. These are the moments when I feel most vulnerable. Not when the world is looking, but when I am left alone with my own mind. Father, you see these private struggles, the restless thoughts, the doubts that creep in, the temptations that whisper louder than reason. Nothing is hidden from you, and that both terrifies me and comforts me. Give me strength in these hidden places, strength that does not depend on the approval of others or the appearance of being fine. Give me strength to resist what no one else knows I wrestle with, strength to quiet the voice that tells me I am not enough, strength to push back against the lies that say I am defined by my failures, strength to choose what is right when no one else will ever know the choice I made. Father, I know that the enemy often attacks in secret, planting thoughts that grow like weeds if I do not pull them up quickly. Sometimes it is discouragement. Sometimes it is anger. Sometimes it is the temptation to take the easy path instead of the faithful one. These are not battles I can fight with my own willpower. I need your Spirit to be my shield, my defender in the quiet moments where I feel too tired to resist. Let me not confuse hidden with hopeless, even when no one else sees the struggle. You do, and you promise to stand with me. Teach me how to bring these silent fights into the light of your presence. Teach me to stop pretending they do not exist. Teach me to open my heart without shame and let you meet me exactly where I am weak. Remind me that weakness is not defeat, but the doorway for your strength to enter. When I try to fight in secret without you, I only wear myself out. But when I surrender the fight into your hands, I discover a strength that does not come from me. Father, strengthen my mind. Guard my thoughts when they begin to wander down paths that lead to fear or despair. Replace the endless cycle of worry with words of peace. Replace the harsh voice of shame with the steady assurance of your love. Strengthen me to remember that I am not the sum of my worst thoughts. I am yours, even in my darkest hour. Strengthen my heart in the places where longing aches and emptiness echoes. Fill the hollows where loneliness tries to take root. Breathe life into the corners of me that feel abandoned. Remind me that even when I am unseen by others, I am fully known by you. Let that truth be stronger than any lie that tells me I am forgotten. Strengthen my will when temptation presses hard, when the easy way seems appealing. Give me the courage to choose the harder path that honors you. When compromise whispers comfort, give me the resolve to stay true. Let me not measure victory only by the visible wins, but also by the unseen moments of quiet resistance where no one claps, but heaven takes notice. Father, let me find courage in knowing that even hidden battles matter, that my silent obedience is not wasted, that my unseen prayers rise before you like incense, that my private tears are collected by you and not ignored. Remind me that nothing is too small for you to care about, and no struggle is insignificant in your sight. I ask you to surround me with unseen strength the way air surrounds my body, invisible yet essential. Let me breathe in courage when fear tries to suffocate me. Let me breathe in peace when anxiety steals my breath. Let me breathe in hope when despair presses close. Every breath a reminder that you are near, even in the battles no one else will ever understand. Father, let these hidden battles not lead me into despair, but into deeper dependence. Let them refine me rather than destroy me. Let them shape me into someone who clings to you more tightly, who trusts you more fully, who knows that victory is not measured only in what is seen, but also in what is endured. So I stand here in the quiet, not in defeat, but in surrender. I surrender the hidden battles I cannot win alone. I surrender the thoughts that overwhelm me, the temptations that pull at me, the doubts that haunt me. And in that surrender, I find strength not mine, but yours. Strength that holds me steady in the silence. Strength that carries me when no one else can. Strength that declares even the unseen places are sacred, because you are there. Father, the hidden battles within me are real, but I know there are also struggles that rise outside of me. It is not only the private wars of my heart that test me, but also the opposition that comes from people, circumstances, and voices that stand against what I am trying to live for. Father, I need courage when resistance comes from beyond my own soul. I need courage to face those moments when standing firm feels impossible, when the pressure to give in grows heavier with every step. You know the weight of words spoken against me. You know the sting of rejection, the push of criticism, the silence of being misunderstood. You know how quickly I can shrink back when I feel surrounded by disapproval. Father, give me courage to remain steady when others question my faith, my choices, or my resolve. Give me courage to keep walking when I feel the ground shaking beneath me. Opposition does not always look like an enemy with raised hands. Sometimes it looks like the subtle discouragement of those I thought would support me. Sometimes it looks like the cold wall of indifference from people I longed to encourage me. Sometimes it looks like closed doors that I thought were open. Father, help me not to let these things break me. Help me to find courage in you, not in the applause of others, not in the approval of friends, not in the outcome I hoped for. When I feel pushed back, remind me that courage is not about winning every battle quickly. It is about staying faithful even when the tide rises against me, when my knees tremble. Strengthen them when my heart hesitates. Steady it when fear tells me to run away. Whisper truth that compels me to stand. Father, I ask you for courage that does not look like pride, but like humility that refuses to give up. Courage that does not need to shout louder than the crowd, but speaks with quiet conviction that cannot be shaken. Courage that does not depend on perfect circumstances, but on the unchanging truth that you are with me. Let this courage rise not as a flash of emotion, but as a steady fire that keeps burning even when the winds of opposition try to extinguish it. Give me courage to face conflict without bitterness, to respond to harshness with patience, to walk into difficult conversations without fear, to love those who seem determined to make things harder for me. Father, I cannot do this on my own. My natural instinct is to protect myself, to strike back, to defend with words, or to retreat in silence. But I know you call me to a different way, a way of courage rooted in grace, a way of boldness anchored in love. Remind me that I am not the first to face opposition. Remind me that many before me stood against greater forces and still found courage in you. Remind me of David, who faced Goliath with only a stone and faith. Remind me of Esther, who risked her life to speak up for her people. Remind me of Daniel, who prayed even when it meant being thrown into the den. Their strength was not in themselves, but in the God who never abandoned them. That same God is mine today. That same strength is available now. Father, let my courage be a light to others who are afraid. Let the way I stand firm encourage someone else to believe they can too. Let the way I keep moving forward inspire hope in someone who feels ready to quit. Let my courage never be for me alone, but for those who watch silently, wondering if faith is worth it. Give me courage not only to resist opposition, but to persevere when the resistance lasts longer than I expect. Give me courage to trust that the delay is not denial. Give me courage to believe that even when I cannot see progress, you are still at work. Let me not measure success by immediate results, but by obedience. Let me not mistake setbacks for defeat. Let me see them as opportunities for you to prove yourself strong again. Father, I ask for courage that lasts, not just for the moment when fear is sharp, but for the long journey where weariness tries to take over. Courage to wake up tomorrow and still believe. Courage to show up again, even when yesterday ended in disappointment. Courage to plant seeds when I may not see the harvest for a long time. Courage to trust that what is unseen today will one day be revealed as worth it. Let me not be defined by the voices against me, but by the voice within me that says, I am yours. Let me not shrink when criticized, nor bend when pressed, nor fall when resisted. Let me stand not because I am strong, but because I am held by the one who has overcome the world, held by the one who promised never to leave, held by the Father who whispers courage into trembling hearts. So, Father, here in the quiet of this morning, I ask for courage not just for what is hidden inside me, but also for what waits outside of me. Courage against the opposition that comes in many forms. Courage against the weight of doubt and the sting of rejection. Courage against the fear of failing. Courage against the temptation to stop believing. Fill me with courage that endures, courage that shines, courage that keeps me standing until the day is done. Father, as I ask for courage against the resistance around me, I realize how easy it is to feel alone in the struggle. Courage may hold me steady for a while, but even the strongest heart grows weary if it carries the weight without support. Father, you never designed me to walk this path by myself. You placed me in a world where lives are meant to intertwine, where burdens are meant to be shared, where encouragement flows through voices and hands that remind me I do not have to stand alone. So this morning, I thank you for community, and I ask you to help me see it as the gift it truly is. I admit that my pride often tells me I should carry everything on my own. My fear whispers that others will not understand, that my weakness is mine to hide, but deep inside, I know that isolation only magnifies the struggle. Silence makes pain heavier. Loneliness steals hope faster than any opposition. Father, break down the walls I build to protect myself. walls that also keep out the help you long to send through the people around me. Teach me to receive support as much as I long to give it. Thank you for the ones who have stood by me in the past, those who offered words at the right time, who sat with me in silence when no words could help, who prayed for me when I could not pray for myself. Remind me that these were not coincidences, but evidence of your care expressed through human love. Remind me that every hand that lifted me up, every smile that eased my heart, every prayer whispered on my behalf was a thread of your strength woven into my weakness. Father, I ask that you surround me today with people who will sustain me. Place in my path those who carry encouragement like a lantern in the dark. Give me companions who remind me of truth when lies sound convincing. Give me friends who will walk beside me even when the road is long, and just as I ask for such people, make me one of them too. Let me not only receive but also give. Let me not only be carried but also carry. Make my presence a source of hope for someone else who feels unseen. I confess how often I have overlooked the strength that comes from community. I thought victory had to be won in solitude, that faith was only proven in private endurance. But you remind me through your word that we are to bear one another's burdens, to lift each other up, to encourage daily so that hearts do not harden. Father, let me not despise small acts of kindness, nor minimize the impact of a gentle word. Let me recognize that in those very moments, you are sustaining me through others. When I feel ashamed of needing help, remind me that even Jesus accepted the help of Simon to carry his cross. If he allowed another to share the weight in his greatest hour of suffering, then surely I can open my heart to the help you provide. Father, remove the pride that resists community and replace it with humility that welcomes it. Teach me that dependence on others is not weakness but design, not failure but wisdom. Father, I ask you to strengthen the bonds between me and those you have placed in my life. Protect relationships from misunderstanding and division. Heal the wounds that have caused distance. Restore trust where it has been broken. Let love flow stronger than offense, and forgiveness cover what might otherwise separate us. Do not let the enemy use isolation as a weapon against me. Instead, let community be a shield around me, reminding me that I belong, that I am part of something greater than myself. When I am tempted to withdraw, nudge me toward connection. When I feel the urge to hide, draw me toward honesty. When I convince myself I am fine, show me the faces of those who long to walk beside me. And when I am afraid to ask for help, give me the courage to be vulnerable. Let me remember that vulnerability is the soil where deep friendship grows, where trust takes root, where true strength is found. Father, let this sense of community extend beyond those I already know. Open my eyes to those who are walking alone, those who carry unseen burdens heavier than mine. Let me be sensitive to the quiet sigh, the hidden tear, the subtle cry for help. Let me be the hand that reaches out, the voice that encourages, the presence that stays. In giving, I will also receive. In caring, I will also be carried. In sustaining others, I too will find strength. So this morning I choose not to walk alone. I choose to welcome the gift of community. I choose to see it as part of your plan to sustain me. Father, let me be held by others without shame, and let me hold others without hesitation. Together, we are stronger than we could ever be apart. Together, we reflect the love that comes from you. Together, we remind one another that no battle, whether hidden or seen, has to be fought in isolation. Father, even as I thank you for the strength that comes from community, I recognize that there are seasons when no amount of support or encouragement can shorten the path I must walk. There are moments when the waiting itself becomes the trial, when answers are delayed, when doors remain closed, when silence stretches longer than I thought I could endure. Father, patience is not something I can create on my own. I confess that waiting exposes the restlessness in me, the desire to move faster than your timing, the fear that nothing is happening while I stand still. I bring that impatience to you this morning, asking for the grace to trust your pace. I do not like to wait. I want immediate answers. Quick resolutions. Instant clarity. Yet I know that rushed solutions often collapse because they are not built on your foundation. Father, teach me to see waiting not as wasted time, but as holy space. Teach me to believe that in the pause, you are working beneath the surface in ways I cannot yet see. While I wrestle with the slowness of the process, remind me that the roots of faith grow deepest when I am forced to stay planted. I think of the farmer who tills the ground, plants the seed, waters faithfully, and then must wait for the unseen work beneath the soil. He cannot dig it up each day to check if it is growing. He must trust the process, trust the rain, trust the unseen hand of nature. Father, help me to wait like that farmer. Help me to sow faithfully, to water diligently, and to leave the growth in your hands. Help me to remember that fruit takes time, that answers may unfold slowly, and that impatience does not bring harvest any sooner. Waiting stretches me. It reveals the places where I doubt your goodness. It exposes the fears that whisper you have forgotten me. It magnifies the longing for control. Father, instead of letting impatience turn to bitterness, let waiting turn to worship. Instead of resenting the pause, let me embrace it as the place where my trust is refined. Give me patience not only to wait, but to wait with hope, to wait with peace, to wait believing that what you prepare in the unseen is far greater than what I would rush to create on my own. I confess that in waiting I often compare my journey to others. I see doors opening for them while mine remain closed. I hear testimonies of answered prayers, while mine linger unanswered. Father, protect my heart from envy in those moments. Remind me that each path is unique, each story unfolds at its own pace, and that your timing for me is just as intentional as it is for them. Let me rejoice in their blessing while I trust you for mine. When waiting feels endless, remind me of the stories written long before mine. Remind me of Abraham who waited for the promise. Remind me of Joseph who endured years of captivity before freedom came. Remind me of Hannah who prayed through tears until her prayer was fulfilled. Their lives tell me that waiting does not mean abandonment. It means preparation. It means alignment. It means you are shaping both the answer and the one who asks. Father, strengthen me not only to endure waiting but to grow in it. Teach me to use this time well, to learn patience in small things, to cultivate gratitude even in delay, to practice faithfulness in tasks that seem insignificant. Let me not despise the ordinary days that build the foundation for extraordinary answers. Let me remember that patience is not passive, is active trust, a steady choice to lean on you when nothing seems to move. When the silence feels heavy, speak softly to my heart. When discouragement rises, remind me of your promises. When I want to give up, steady me with hope that does not disappoint. When I cannot see the end, remind me that you already hold it. When I doubt, draw me close enough to feel your nearness, even without visible answers. Father, give me patience in waiting for healing, patience in waiting for provision, patience in waiting for clarity, patience in waiting for reconciliation, patience in waiting for dreams to take shape. Whatever the circumstance, remind me that patience is not weakness. It is strength under control, faith that holds steady, love that believes even when nothing has changed yet. So today, I choose to surrender the timeline I cling to. I choose to release the calendar I keep watching. I choose to trust that your delays are not denials, that your pace is perfect, that your silence does not equal absence. Father, let patience rise in me like a shield against despair. Let it guard my heart from anxiety and protect my mind from fear. Let it become the soil where deeper faith grows. And as I wait, let me not forget to live. Let me see beauty in the present, joy in small moments, purpose in today. Let me not miss what you are doing now, because I am so focused on what has not yet come. Waiting is part of the journey. And if you are with me in it, then I am not lacking. I am learning. I am being shaped. I am being prepared. So, Father, I place this season of waiting in your hands. Teach me to rest in it, to trust in it, to grow through it. Give me patience not just to endure, but to thrive, while I wait for what only you can bring in its perfect time. As I wait with patience for your timing, I realize that waiting does not mean standing still in despair. It is not a passive state, but a sacred posture, a place where strength is renewed and vision is lifted. Father, I long to rise above the heaviness that presses me down. I long to see beyond the immediate troubles that cloud my heart. I long to soar with the kind of perspective that only you can give. Just as an eagle spreads its wings and catches the current of the wind, I ask you to lift me into the heights of your presence, where I can see with clarity and move with freedom. There are days when my spirit feels earthbound, tied to the weight of my circumstances. I stare at the ground, watching the same worries circle around me, and I forget there is more beyond what my eyes can see. Father, help me to look up. Help me to lift my gaze from the dirt of disappointment to the vastness of your sky. Help me to remember that you never intended for me to crawl through life with my head bowed in defeat. You have promised that those who wait on you will renew their strength, that they will rise on wings like eagles, that they will run without growing weary, that they will walk without fainting. I hold to that promise now. Father, I ask you to give me the kind of vision that rises above the storm. Teach me not to fear the winds, but to use them as the very currents that lift me higher when trials blow strong. Let me not be broken by them. Let me spread the wings of faith and trust that you will carry me through. Let the very resistance that tries to push me down become the force that raises me closer to you. I know that rising like an eagle does not come from my own effort. It comes from surrender, from leaning into the strength of your spirit, from trusting that you provide the lift when my own strength fails. Father, show me how to stretch my soul wide, to open fully to you, to let go of fear long enough to feel the updraft of your grace beneath me. I cannot make myself fly, but I can choose not to cling to the ground when you are calling me higher. Lift me above the fog of confusion. Lift me above the shadows of doubt. Lift me above the weight of discouragement, not to escape the reality of this world, but to see it from a higher place, to see with perspective, to understand that what feels overwhelming here looks smaller from the heights of faith. Teach me to live not chained by the view at ground level, but expanded by the horizon you set before me. Father, I ask you to help me embrace the patience required for soaring. Eagles do not flap wildly in desperation. They rise by waiting for the right current and then resting in it. Teach me that same rhythm. Teach me to wait for your spirit and not rush into frantic effort. Teach me to lean on your strength instead of exhausting my own. Let my life be less about constant striving and more about steady trusting. When I am tempted to settle for crawling, remind me of the wings you have given me. When I feel stuck in valleys of despair, remind me that you have called me to heights. When I believe I will never rise again, remind me of every time you lifted me before. Father, do not let me forget that I was made for more than weariness. I was made for renewal, for perspective, for life lived in the current of your presence. Lift not only me, but also those I love. Carry their hearts above their burdens. Give them glimpses of hope beyond the shadows of their pain. Let them feel the lift of your spirit under their own weary wings. Father, let us rise together, carried not by our own might but by yours, lifted not by shallow optimism, but by the solid truth that you never grow tired, never falter, never fail. Father, as you raise me higher, let me not look down on those still walking below. Let soaring never become pride. Let it become compassion, vision, and encouragement. Let me use the vantage point of hope to call others upward, to tell them they too can rise. They too can see the horizon. They too can feel the freedom of being lifted by you. This morning, I open myself to the possibility of new strength. I lay aside the fear that I will always remain weary. I set down the doubt that whispers I am too weak to rise. And I choose to trust that your promise is true. Those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. Father, renew me now. Renew my courage. Renew my vision. Renew my hope. Let me spread the wings of trust and feel your spirit carry me above the weight of this day. So here I am, Father, in the quiet of morning, waiting on you, not waiting in despair, but waiting with expectation, not waiting in fear, but waiting with trust. I know you are faithful. I know you are strong. I know you are lifting me even now, and in that truth, I rise. Father, as I rise on the strength you provide, I realize that soaring higher also exposes me to new winds of fear. Fear does not always vanish when I gain perspective. Sometimes it grows louder, whispering that I will not be able to stay aloft, that I will fall, that what carried me before will not carry me again. Father, I cannot deny that fear has often ruled my heart, shaping my choices, limiting my steps, silencing my voice. But this morning I choose not to bow before it. I choose defiance, not a defiance rooted in arrogance, but one rooted in faith, one that declares fear has no right to command me when you are near. Fear tells me that I am alone, but your word tells me that you will never leave nor forsake me. Fear tells me that I am not enough, but you remind me that your strength is made perfect in weakness. Fear tells me to retreat, but your spirit compels me to move forward. Father, help me to listen less to fear and more to truth. Help me to drown out its whispers with the sound of your promises. Help me to rise each time fear tries to push me back down. I know fear wears many disguises. Sometimes it is the fear of failure, whispering that I will never succeed. Sometimes it is the fear of rejection, telling me I am not wanted. Sometimes it is the fear of the unknown, convincing me that the risk is too great. And sometimes it is the fear of loss, threatening to steal joy even before the loss has come. Father, whatever form fear takes today, let me not surrender to it. Let me face it with courage drawn from you. Teach me that defiance of fear does not mean the absence of trembling. It means choosing to act even while trembling. It means stepping forward even when my knees shake. It means trusting you enough to move while uncertainty screams. Father, give me that kind of courage. The courage that does not wait for perfect peace, but acts on the assurance of your presence. I confess how often I have allowed fear to shrink my life. How many opportunities I have turned away from. How many words I have left unsaid. How many dreams I have buried because fear told me they were impossible. Father, I do not want to live in the prison of what if. I do not want to keep surrendering joy to the chains of anxiety. Break those chains. Teach me to rise against them with faith that defies what fear demands. Father, when fear speaks, remind me of David who walked into the valley against Goliath, not because he had no fear, because he trusted you more than his enemy. Remind me of Joshua who stepped into a land filled with giants, believing that your presence made the giants small. Remind me of the countless who stood in courage not because fear was absent, but because your power was greater. Let their stories echo in me when fear shouts too loud. Give me courage to face not only external fears, but the inner ones that quietly drain my soul. The fear of never being enough. The fear of making the wrong choice. The fear of not being loved as I truly am. Father, speak into those silent fears. Replace them with truth. Tell me again that I am yours. Tell me again that you have called me by name. Tell me again that nothing can separate me from your love. Let that truth be louder than any fear I carry. When I wake in the middle of the night with my heart racing, let your peace cover me. When I stand on the edge of a decision and fear whispers retreat, Remind me that stepping forward with you is safer than standing still without you when my imagination runs wild with what could go wrong. Calm me with the vision of what you can make right. Let me not let fear be the author of my story. Let faith write the pages instead. Father, help me to remember that fear has a way of exaggerating shadows, making them look larger than they are. Shine your light on the things I dread, exposing them for what they truly are: obstacles, not endings, trials, not truths. Teach me to see that fear loses its grip when confronted with light. Let me live today in that light, defying the lies that try to bind me. So this morning, Father, I choose defiance. I choose to lift my voice against fierce demands. I choose to walk into this day, not as its captive, but as your child. I will not let fear dictate how I live, how I love, how I trust. I will not let it write the story of my day. Instead, I will rise in the strength you give, spread the wings of faith you provide, and move forward into whatever comes, knowing you are with me. Father, as I lift my heart in defiance against fear, I know I cannot stand unguarded. Fear may be resisted for a moment, but its arrows keep coming back, trying to pierce through hope and silence the voice of courage. Father, I need something stronger than fleeting determination. I need faith, not as a vague idea, but as a shield that covers me, protecting my soul from the relentless assault of doubt. You have said that faith extinguishes the fiery darts of the enemy, and I cling to that truth now. Faith is not a shield I can create on my own. It is not built by my effort or willpower. It comes from trusting you, from believing that what you have spoken is more solid than what I see. Father, I admit that I do not always hold this shield firmly. Sometimes I let it slip, and fear finds its way through. Sometimes I grow tired, and doubt feels heavier than trust. But I do not want to remain exposed. Strengthen my grip today. Place faith in my hands like a weapon, but also like a refuge. Teach me to raise faith not only when battles come, but to carry it always. To let it rest over me as constant protection. Let it stand between me and the lies that try to enter my mind. Let it stand between me and the wounds of rejection. Let it stand between me and the shame of past mistakes. Let it cover my heart when fear throws accusations, and my mind when despair tries to convince me there is no hope. Father, I confess that I sometimes confuse faith with feelings. When I do not feel strong, I think my faith has failed, but true faith is not about emotion. It is about trust anchored in you. Regardless of what I feel, faith is choosing to believe when evidence seems thin. Faith is holding to your word when my eyes see only darkness. Faith is standing when everything around me says to fall. Father, grow this kind of faith in me. Remind me that faith is not blind. It sees further than sight. It sees the unseen, the eternal, the promises waiting beyond the horizon. It sees not with human eyes, with spiritual vision. Father, help me to see like that. Help me to remember that faith does not deny reality, but declares that reality is not final when you are involved. Where fear shows me obstacles, faith shows me opportunities. Where fear shows me endings, faith shows me beginnings. Let this shield of faith not be small and fragile, but wide and strong, able to cover not only me, but also those I carry in prayer. Let it extend over my family, my friends, those I love who fight their own unseen battles. Father, let faith be not just my defense, but my intercession. Let it block despair from reaching them. Let it shelter them under hope. Let it remind them that they too are not unprotected. Father, teach me to repair this shield when it feels cracked. Teach me to strengthen it through your word, to polish it through worship, to steady it through prayer. Let every verse of truth I hide in my heart be another layer of strength. Let every moment of trust in small things prepare me for greater trials. Let every step of obedience make the shield shine brighter against the attacks of doubt. When I face opposition, let faith rise before me like a barrier that fear cannot cross. When whispers of lies creep in, let them bounce harmlessly off the shield. When despair tries to strike, let faith absorb the blow and leave me standing. Father, let faith not be something I pick up only when desperate, but something I carry daily, so natural that I cannot imagine walking without it. I know there will be days when holding the shield feels exhausting, days when arms grow weak and hope feels dim. Father, on those days, remind me that I do not hold faith alone. You are the one who sustains it. You are the author and the finisher of faith. Even when my grip falters, you steady my hands. Even when my vision blurs, you remind me of the bigger picture. Faith is not about me holding tightly enough. It is about you being faithful enough. Father, I ask for faith that does not only defend but also advances. Faith that steps forward into what looks impossible. Faith that builds when the ground looks unstable. Faith that sings in the middle of sorrow. Faith that refuses to be silenced by fear. Let this shield not make me passive but bold, not withdrawn but active. Let it cover me as I move forward, trusting that every step is secure in you. So this morning, Father, I lift the shield of faith over my heart, over my mind, over my life. I lift it not as a symbol, but as my reality, my protection, my strength. With it I face whatever comes, knowing that fear may shout, doubt may press, opposition may rise, but none can penetrate the shield that you have placed in my hands. Father, as I lift the shield of faith before me, I realize that strength is not always displayed in grand gestures or extraordinary victories. So often I expect to see courage in the form of mighty breakthroughs. But you remind me that real strength often shows itself in the smallest choices of daily life. Father, I want to recognize the power of simple faithfulness, the beauty of quiet endurance, the sacredness of small acts that may never be celebrated by others, but are precious in your sight. It is easy for me to believe that only the big moments matter, the dramatic victories, the miraculous deliverances. Yet I know that the daily decisions, the unseen acts of kindness, the hidden prayers offered for someone in need, these are the quiet battles where true strength is proven. Father, open my eyes to value what seems small. Remind me that a gentle word can change a heavy heart, that a moment of patience can prevent harm, that a single step of obedience can shift the direction of a whole day. Teach me that strength is not always about conquering mountains, but sometimes about carrying the little things without complaint. Strength is choosing to forgive when bitterness would be easier. Strength is showing up when I would rather give up. Strength is offering kindness when irritation tempts me otherwise. Strength is praying again, even when I have not seen the answer yet. Father, let me not overlook these moments. Let me see them as victories, just as important as the larger ones. I confess that I often wait for the big opportunities, thinking they will prove my faith. But so often I ignore the chances already in front of me to live faithfully. Father, forgive me for missing the significance of these small acts. Forgive me for dismissing them as unimportant when they are shaping my character, refining my spirit, and revealing your strength through me. Help me to be faithful in the ordinary, faithful in how I speak to those closest to me, faithful in how I handle responsibilities no one praises, faithful in how I respond to frustrations that seem minor but test my heart deeply. These are the places where my character is revealed, where strength is forged in silence. Father, let me not despise the ordinary. Let me embrace it as the soil where your Spirit grows extraordinary grace. Remind me of the widow who gave 2 coins, and how you called it greater than all the lavish gifts. Remind me of the boy who brought his small lunch, and how you multiplied it to feed thousands. Remind me that you delight in what is offered sincerely, no matter how small. Father, take my simple acts and breathe eternal significance into them. Let me trust that nothing done in love is wasted, no matter how unseen it feels. Father, give me strength for the hidden work, the strength to rise early when weariness tells me to stay in bed, the strength to listen attentively when I would rather rush, the strength to hold my tongue when anger presses me to speak, the strength to choose honesty when deception could protect me. These are the victories no one applauds, yet they matter deeply. They matter because they reveal who I am when the crowd is absent, when the lights are dim, when only you see. Give me joy in these small acts. Let me not carry them with resentment, as if I am settling for less. Let me see them as offerings, laid before you like incense rising quietly in the morning. Father, let every small choice of faithfulness become a testimony of your Spirit at work in me. Let every unnoticed act become a seed that will one day grow into fruit I may not even live to see. Father, strengthen me to love in simple ways, to smile at the stranger who feels invisible, to encourage the friend who is weary, to serve without asking for recognition, to give without expecting return. These are the small acts that shape a life of love. These are the moments that reflect your heart more clearly than any speech or display of power. I know that when I stand before you, it will not be the size of my accomplishments that matters, but the sincerity of my faith, the purity of my love, the willingness to walk faithfully in both the great and the small. So let me begin here, this morning, not waiting for something grand, but choosing what is right in the moment before me. Father, as I offer you the small acts of strength that seem hidden from the world, I realize how many times even those small choices feel heavy because of wounds I carry inside, beneath the surface of obedience. Beneath the discipline of daily faithfulness, there are still scars that ache and cracks that long for mending. Father, Strength is not only about pushing forward. Sometimes it is about allowing myself to be restored. This morning I bring to you my brokenness, not to hide it, but to place it openly before the one who heals. There are places within me I do not often acknowledge, places that have been bruised by harsh words, by disappointment, by betrayal, by loss. I try to carry on as though they are not there, but deep inside, I feel the sting. Sometimes I cover them with business. Sometimes I bury them with silence. Sometimes I try to forget, but they remain, shaping how I see myself and how I respond to others. Father, only you can reach those places. Only you can bring healing where time has not been enough. I confess that I often pretend I am not broken. I tell myself to be strong, to hold it together, to ignore the pain. But pretending does not heal. It only hides, and hidden wounds do not disappear. They grow. Father, I do not want to keep living this way. I open my soul to you, even the parts that feel raw, even the parts I wish I could erase. I trust that you will not reject me for being fractured. I trust that you will meet me with gentleness and mercy. Father, heal the wounds of my past that still echo in my present. Heal the places where rejection told me I was not worthy of love. Heal the memories that replay when I least expect them, bringing back the ache of what was lost. Heal the disappointments that left me questioning whether good things will ever last. Touch those places. Father, with the balm of your Spirit, let your comfort seep deeper than the pain. Let your love speak louder than the voices that wounded me. Heal not only the wounds inflicted by others, but also the wounds I caused myself. Heal the shame of choices I regret, the sting of words I should not have spoken, the emptiness left by paths I should not have taken. Father, I give you my failures, trusting that your mercy is greater than my mistakes. Let me not lie trapped in the guilt of what cannot be undone. Heal me with the reminder that grace is bigger, that forgiveness is real, that redemption is still possible. Father, I ask you to mend the brokenness that affects my relationships. Where my hurt has made me guarded, teach me to trust again. Where my scars have made me harsh, teach me to be gentle. Where my pain has made me withdraw, teach me to lean in with love. Do not let the fractures of my soul isolate me. Use even my wounds as vessels of compassion, shaping me into someone who can sit with the hurting and remind them they are not alone. I think of how you draw near to the broken-hearted, how you bind up their wounds. I think of how Jesus reached out to the leper, touched the blind, lifted the crippled, restored the weary. If you could meet their needs with healing power, surely you can meet mine. Father, remind me that nothing is too broken for you to restore, that no scar is too deep for you to touch, that no heart is beyond the reach of your love. Sometimes the healing I need is not instant. Sometimes it comes slowly, like a dawn that rises gradually over the horizon. Father, teach me to trust the process of healing. Teach me to stay patient when pain lingers, to remain hopeful when progress is hard to see, to believe that even when I feel unchanged, you are still working beneath the surface. Let me not lose heart in the slow unfolding of your care. Father, where bitterness has settled like a weight. Remove it, where grief still holds me captive. Comfort me, where fear of being hurt again has closed my heart. Open it gently, where I feel unworthy of being whole. Remind me that you delight in restoring what is broken. Teach me to live as someone not defined by wounds, but defined by the healing touch of your love. So this morning I bring you all that is crass, cracked, and fragile within me. I bring you the silent tears, the unspoken longings, the tender places that few know about, and I ask you not to leave them untouched. Father, meet me in my brokenness and make me whole again. Breathe life into the weary places. Stitch together what has been torn apart. Strengthen what has grown weak. Let my story not be one of despair, but of restoration. A testimony that no brokenness is beyond the reach of your healing hand. Father, thank you that you see every small act of strength. You see every hidden choice. You see every quiet yes. And you remind me that nothing escapes your notice. That truth gives me courage to keep going. Even when the acts feel too insignificant to matter, they matter to you. And that is enough. As I lay before you the wounds of my heart and ask for healing, I also recognize the chains that have held me captive for too long. Brokenness may be tender, but captivity is heavy. There are patterns, habits, fears, and lies that bind me, making me believe I will never walk freely. Father, I do not want to live as though shackled to what you have already conquered. This morning, I ask you to break the chains that keep me from walking fully in the freedom you offer. Some chains are obvious. Father, I know the weight of fear that tries to control my choices. I know the grip of shame that whispers, I will never be clean. I know the cycle of doubt that drags me back when I try to move forward. But some chains are subtle. They look like comfort but trap me in complacency. They look like security but keep me from trust. They look like control but keep me from surrender. Father, expose every chain, both the ones I feel and the ones I have learned to ignore. I confess that at times I have grown accustomed to these chains. I have carried them so long that they feel like part of me. I have mistaken captivity for identity, believing the lie that I will always be the same, that change is beyond my reach. But you say, I am new. You say, I am free. You say, I am no longer bound. Father, help me believe your truth more than the lies that echo from my past. I ask you to break the chains of fear that paralyze me, the chains of regret that haunt me, the chains of bitterness that poison me, the chains of addiction that entangle me. Break the chains of comparison that steal my joy, the chains of insecurity that silence my voice, the chains of pride that blind my heart, the chains of despair that convince me there is no way out. Break them not just for a moment of relief, but for lasting freedom that cannot be undone. Father, I think of Paul and Silas, singing in their prison, their chains falling off in the midnight hour. If you could set them free in a place of darkness and confinement, then you can set me free in the hidden prisons of my heart. I think of Peter, asleep in his cell when an angel led him past the guards and out into the night. No iron bar able to hold him when you commanded his release. Let those stories remind me that no chain is too strong for you. no prison too secure for your presence to enter. I know that breaking chains is not always about removing circumstances, but about changing my spirit. Sometimes the walls remain, but the grip of fear is gone. Sometimes the situation does not shift, but my heart rises in strength anyway. Father, whatever freedom looks like today, I ask you to give it. Whether it is release from something external or courage in the midst of it, let me not remain captive in my soul. Father, I surrender the keys I keep trying to make myself. I surrender the strategies I use to hide my chains instead of facing them. I surrender the false comforts that numb me, but never heal me. I open my hands and ask you to break what I cannot break, to free what I cannot free, to open what I cannot open. Let me not be ashamed of this cry for deliverance. Let me not believe the lie that freedom is for others, but not for me. Teach me to walk as someone already free. Teach me to let go of habits that keep me tied to the past. Teach me to refuse the lies that once chained me. Teach me to stand tall in the identity you give, no longer slouched under the weight of bondage. Let my words reflect freedom. My choices reflect freedom. My very presence carry the fragrance of freedom. Let others see in me what is possible when you set a soul free. Father, let this freedom ripple outward. Let it not stop with me. Use my story of chains broken to encourage someone else who still feels trapped. Use my testimony to remind them that no prison lasts forever when you are near. Use my life to declare that liberation is not a dream, but a reality for anyone who calls upon your name. So this morning, Father, I choose not to live in captivity. I choose to believe that freedom is mine. Not because of my strength, but because of yours. I choose to walk forward without the weight I once carried. Break every chain, Father, and let me live this day unbound. Father, as you break the chains that once held me captive, I see that some of the heaviest chains have not been the ones wrapped around my own heart, but the ones I have placed around others. The chains of resentment, of bitterness, of anger that I have held on to, believing they protected me from further hurt. Father, I realize that unforgiveness has been its own prison, and the key to release is not vengeance but grace. I come before you this morning asking for strength to forgive, because forgiveness does not come naturally to me. It costs more than I feel able to give, and yet it is the very path to freedom you call me to walk. Father, I confess that holding on to anger sometimes feels safer than letting go. It feels like a shield that keeps the pain from returning. It feels like justice in my own hands, but deep inside, I know it does not protect me. It poisons me. The bitterness I thought was keeping me strong is instead corroding my soul. The grudge I thought was holding others accountable is actually holding me captive. Father, release me from the lie that unforgiveness makes me powerful. Show me that real strength is found in releasing what I cannot carry any longer. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting the wound. It does not mean pretending it never happened. It does not mean the pain was small or insignificant. It means I choose to no longer let the wound define my story. It means I hand over the right to revenge into your hands. It means I release the one who hurt me into your justice and your mercy. Father, give me the courage to forgive even when every part of me resists. Give me the humility to acknowledge that I too have needed forgiveness more times than I can count. I think of how Jesus, hanging on the cross, looked at those who mocked him, who pierced his body, who betrayed his trust, and said, "Father, forgive them." If he could release forgiveness in that moment of unimaginable pain, surely he can empower me to forgive in the places where my heart aches. Father, let his example not just inspire me, but transform me. Let me forgive not out of obligation, but out of the overflow of the forgiveness I have already received. I ask you to bring to my mind those I have not released, the names I avoid, the faces that stir anger when I see them, the memories that still sting with betrayal. Father, I bring them to you now, not to justify what they did, not to excuse the wrong, but to release the hold it has on me. I choose to forgive not because they deserve it, but because you have called me to live free. I choose to forgive not because it erases the past, but because it opens the future. Father, I also ask for the strength to forgive myself. I carry wounds of regret, shame for choices I made, anger at my own weakness. I replay my failures as if punishing myself will somehow make me stronger. But the truth is, I am only dragging chains you have already broken. Help me to extend to myself the same grace you extend to me. Help me to believe that forgiveness is not partial but complete, and that includes my own heart as well. Teach me that forgiveness is not a single act, but a daily choice. Some wounds reopen when memories return. Some scars ache unexpectedly. In those moments, help me to forgive again. Help me to keep laying down the anger each time it rises, to keep choosing freedom over captivity, to keep trusting that healing will deepen as I forgive continually. Father, I ask you to replace bitterness with compassion, resentment with peace, anger with love. Not a shallow love that denies pain, but a deep love that sees through it and still chooses grace. Let forgiveness reshape my relationships, bringing reconciliation where possible and peace where reconciliation cannot come. Let forgiveness make me a witness of your mercy, a reflection of your heart, a channel of your love. This morning, I surrender the right to hold grudges. I surrender the weight of keeping score. I surrender the illusion that withholding forgiveness protects me. Father, fill the empty spaces left behind with your Spirit, so that what once was filled with anger now overflows with peace. What once was defined by hurt now becomes a testimony of healing. What once felt impossible now stands as proof that with you, all things are possible. So I choose, Father, not to let unforgiveness write my story. I choose to forgive, to release, to walk in freedom. Strengthen me for this choice today and every day until forgiveness becomes the natural rhythm of my heart, shaped by the mercy I have received from you. Father, as I lean into the strength to forgive, I realize that forgiveness itself is a form of light breaking into dark places. Yet I know there are still corners of my life where shadows linger, moments when fear, grief, or despair try to cover hope. Father, I need your light to shine in every place where darkness has settled. Both around me and within me, I need the assurance that no matter how heavy the night feels, Your presence is brighter still. There are times when I walk through days that feel dim, when burdens press down and joy seems far away. Sometimes it is the weight of unanswered prayers. Sometimes the sting of loss. Sometimes the weariness of battles that do not end quickly. Father, in those moments, the darkness feels overwhelming. It tells me that things will never change, that I will always be stuck. That morning will never come. But you are the God who speaks light into existence, who declared at the beginning of time, "Let there be light," and the darkness fled. Speak that word into my life again. Shine your light into my thoughts when they spiral into worry. Shine into my emotions when sadness lingers too long. Shine into my decisions when confusion clouds my judgment. Shine into my relationships where misunderstanding creates distance. Shine into my future when it feels uncertain. Father, let no corner remain untouched by the brightness of your presence. I confess that sometimes I grow used to the dark. I adapt to it, thinking it is normal, convincing myself that it is easier not to hope. But Father, you have not called me to live half alive in the shadows. You have called me to walk as a child of light, to carry your brightness into the world. Teach me to stop accepting despair as permanent. Teach me to resist the numbness that comes from living too long without joy. Teach me to believe that even when the night is long, dawn is coming. Your light is not fragile. It is not a small candle that flickers in the wind. It is steady, powerful, unshakable. It cannot be overcome, no matter how fierce the darkness grows. Father, let me trust that truth when fear tells me otherwise. Let me hold on to it when circumstances seem to prove it wrong. Remind me that darkness is not equal to light. It has no power to remain once your presence shines. Father, I ask you to let me carry this light into the lives of others. Let me be someone who reflects your hope when they feel despair. Someone who brings warmth where their hearts have grown cold. Someone who offers encouragement that breaks through their discouragement. Let me not hide the light you have placed in me out of fear or timidity. Let me shine it boldly, not to draw attention to myself, but to point others toward you. When I encounter people weighed down by grief, let me bring comfort that carries light into their sorrow. When I meet those caught in cycles of shame, let me carry grace that illuminates a new way forward. When I cross paths with the lonely, let me be a reminder that they are not unseen. Father, let my life be like a lamp on a stand, giving light to everyone around. Not hidden, not dimmed, but steady and strong because it is fueled by you. I also ask you to help me see the beauty of light even in small ways. The laughter that breaks tension, the kindness that softens a hard day, the quiet strength that steadies a weary soul. Father, let me not overlook these beams of light that remind me you are still here, that darkness has not won. Teach me to gather these glimpses of brightness as treasures, reminders of your faithfulness. Father, when I am tempted to believe that the night will last forever, remind me that even creation itself preaches hope. The sun always rises. The morning always comes. The shadows always flee. If you can order the heavens with such faithfulness, surely you can bring light into my own life as well. Let every sunrise remind me that no matter how long the night, you are already preparing the dawn. So today I step out of the shadows and into your light. I choose not to dwell in despair, but to lift my eyes to hope. I choose not to live in fear, but to walk in the confidence of your presence. I choose not to accept darkness as my story, but to believe that your light is stronger, brighter, and already shining. Father, let me live this day as one who carries light, one who reflects it, one who believes that no shadow can withstand the power of your love. Father, as I step into the light you shine into the darkest corners of my life, I am reminded that light must be protected if it is to keep burning. My heart is the lamp that carries this flame, and if it is left exposed to carelessness or compromise, it can quickly grow dim. Father, you have taught me that above all else, I must guard my heart, because it is the wellspring of life. This morning I come asking you to help me protect what is sacred within me, to shield the core of who I am from the forces that try to corrupt or consume it. There are so many voices pulling at my heart, so many distractions competing for my affection, so many temptations waiting for an unguarded moment. If I am not watchful, I begin to give pieces of myself away to things that cannot satisfy. I let bitterness plant seeds in my thoughts. I let envy creep in when I compare myself to others. I let fear whisper louder than truth. Father, teach me to guard my heart not by building walls of isolation, but by anchoring it firmly in you. Guard my heart from pride that blinds me. Guard it from anger that poisons me. Guard it from despair that drains me. Guard it from lies that twist my perception. Guard it from apathy that dulls my spirit. Guard it from selfishness that tempts me to make life about myself alone. Father, let my heart remain soft but strong, tender toward others but firm against deception, open to love but closed to destruction. I confess that sometimes I leave my heart unprotected because I think I am strong enough to resist on my own. I underestimate how easily small compromises grow into large ones. I tell myself that one careless thought, one unchecked attitude, one indulgence in resentment will not matter. But slowly the small cracks spread, and the lamp grows dim. Father, forgive me for treating lightly what is precious. Forgive me for forgetting that my heart is the very place where your spirit dwells. Help me to guard my heart through the choices I make daily, what I allow my eyes to see, my ears to hear, my mind to dwell upon. These shape the condition of my heart. Teach me to fill it with what is true, noble, pure, and lovely. Teach me to feed it with words that build up instead of tear down. Teach me to keep watch over it the way a gardener tends his vineyard, pulling out weeds before they choke the fruit, pruning branches so that new growth may flourish. Father, let gratitude be a shield around my heart when envy tries to slip in. Let thankfulness drive it out. Let hope be a guardrail that keeps despair from overtaking me. Let love be the gate that opens only to what reflects you. Let discernment be the watchman who alerts me to danger. Do not let me grow careless with the treasure of this inner life you have entrusted to me. I ask you to guard my heart not only from what enters, but also from what flows out. Let my words spring from kindness, not bitterness. Let my actions come from compassion, not selfish ambition. Let my responses reveal patience, not irritation. Let the overflow of my heart bless those around me instead of harming them. Father, make my heart a fountain of life that refreshes others rather than draining them. I know there will be times when wounds try to harden my heart, times when betrayal tempts me to close off, when disappointment makes me bitter, when pain makes me cautious. Father, do not let these experiences build walls that keep out love. Teach me how to guard my heart without numbing it. Teach me how to protect it without locking it away. Let it remain tender, even in trials, because a tender heart in your hands is stronger than the hardest stone. When I am weary and let down my guard, surround me with reminders of your truth. When I feel overwhelmed and tempted to escape into distractions, draw me back to stillness with you. When my heart begins to grow restless or anxious, steady it with peace that cannot be shaken. Father, let my heart beat in rhythm with yours, guarded not by fear but by love. So this morning I place my heart in your hands again. I cannot guard it perfectly on my own, but I trust you to be the keeper of my soul. Strengthen me to be vigilant, to be watchful, to be mindful of the influences I allow. Let me rise into this day with a heart protected, a heart alive, a heart guarded by the one who loves me most. Father, as I ask you to guard my heart, I am reminded that a guarded heart still needs nourishment. Protection alone is not enough if I do not feed my spirit with what sustains it. Just as the body cannot live without daily bread, my soul cannot live without your grace poured fresh each morning. Father, I do not want to live on yesterday's provision. I do not want to survive on the memory of past blessings. I need your grace today, alive and real, meeting me in the very moments that lie ahead. I confess that I often forget how dependent I am. I assume strength will carry over from yesterday, but I soon discover my energy running thin, my patience fraying, my hope wearing down. Father, remind me that I was never meant to live self-sufficiently. Just as manna fell daily for your people in the wilderness, so your grace must fall daily for me. I cannot store it up. I cannot manufacture it. I cannot replace it. I must receive it again and again. Give me the bread of grace that feeds my thoughts. Replace the stale patterns of worry with fresh confidence in your provision. Replace the hunger for approval with the satisfaction of being loved by you. Replace the emptiness of doubt with the fullness of truth. Father, let my mind be nourished by promises that never expire, by wisdom that never fades, by hope that does not run out. Give me the bread of grace that sustains my heart. Heal the cracks where discouragement seeps in. Strengthen the weak places that temptation targets. Fill me with love that does not dry up when tested. Father, let my heart beat with the rhythm of gratitude, satisfied not by what I achieve, but by what I receive from you. Let it be filled enough to overflow, so that kindness becomes my instinct and generosity my habit. Give me the bread of grace that energizes my actions. Let my work be fueled not by striving but by steady strength. Let my service be fueled not by duty but by love. Let my perseverance be fueled not by stubbornness but by faith. Father, let each step I take today be sustained by the quiet reminder that your grace is sufficient, not only in great trials but in ordinary tasks, in small choices, in unnoticed faithfulness. I confess that sometimes I try to fill myself with substitutes business. Distraction, the approval of others, the illusion of control, but none of these satisfy. They leave me hungrier than before. Father, teach me to stop reaching for what cannot fill me and to return to you, the true source of nourishment. Teach me to seek your word not as a duty but as food for my soul. Teach me to pray not as a ritual but as a way of breathing in grace. Father, remind me that your grace is not scarce. It is not rationed or limited. It is abundant, poured out freely for every need, whether my day is heavy with burdens or light with joy. Your grace is enough, whether I face battles or blessings, valleys or mountaintops. Still I need the same daily portion, and you never fail to provide. Let this bread of grace not only sustain me, but also change me. Let it soften places that have grown hardened. Let it strengthen places that have grown weak. Let it shape me into someone who reflects the giver more than the gift. Father, let me never take it for granted. Let every moment of receiving turn to gratitude. Let gratitude shape the way I live, so that others see in me not striving but resting, not scarcity but abundance, not fear but trust. I ask also for the grace to share my bread. Do not let me hoard what was never meant only for me. Let my words feed the weary. Let my actions refresh the tired. Let my presence bring hope to those who hunger for meaning. Father, make me generous with the grace I have received, knowing it never runs out, and knowing there is always more where it came from. So this morning I come with open hands, not asking for riches or recognition, but for daily bread, enough grace for this day, enough strength for this moment, enough peace for this hour, not tomorrow's supply, next week's abundance, but today's portion, fresh and new, straight from your heart to mine. Father, I trust that as surely as the sun rises, your grace is here. I trust that as surely as I breathe, you are sustaining me. Trust that as surely as manna fell in the desert, you are feeding me now. Let this truth carry me into today, not with anxiety about tomorrow, not with regret about yesterday, but with confidence that today is held in the abundance of your grace. Father, as I receive the daily bread of your grace, I realize that grace is never meant to be stored only within me. You feed me so that I may have the strength to pour into others. You fill me so that I may overflow. You sustain me so that I may serve. Father, this morning I ask not only for strength to endure my own journey, but also for strength to serve faithfully wherever you place me. Let me not waste the nourishment you have given by keeping it to myself. Let it become energy to love, to help, to lift others who need the same hope I have found in you. Father, I confess that service does not always come naturally to me. My instinct is to guard my time, to protect my energy, to think of my own comfort first. I hesitate when the cost feels high, when the need feels too demanding, when the act of serving goes unnoticed. But I remember that your Son knelt and washed the feet of his disciples, taking the posture of a servant even though he was the Lord of all. That picture humbles me. If he could serve in humility, then surely I can choose to serve as well. Give me strength to serve with joy, not out of obligation, but out of love. Give me strength to serve with patience, even when the needs feel endless. Give me strength to serve with consistency, not just when it is convenient or seen, but in the hidden moments where no one applauds. Father, let service be more than action. Let it be an attitude shaped by your Spirit, an overflow of the love you have already poured into me. I ask for strength to serve the people closest to me, not just strangers or distant causes. Let me serve in my home with kindness, in my relationships with selflessness, in my conversations with attentiveness. Remind me that true service often begins with the people right in front of me. Let me not overlook them while chasing opportunities that look greater from afar. I also ask for strength to serve beyond my comfort zone, to step into places where the need is overwhelming, where the brokenness is raw, where the work is difficult. Give me courage to go where I would not go on my own, to speak where silence would feel safer, to give when my instinct is to hold back. Father, stretch me in service so that my life reflects not only my willingness, but also your power working through me. Teach me that serving others is not about proving my worth, but about expressing yours. It is not about drawing attention to myself, but about pointing people toward you. It is not about doing everything perfectly, but about showing up faithfully. Father, remind me that the measure of service is not its scale, but its sincerity. Even the smallest act, offered with love, carries eternal significance in your kingdom. I confess that sometimes I serve with mixed motives, seeking recognition or expecting gratitude. But true service does not demand repayment. It does not keep score. It does not boast. Father, purify my heart so that I serve out of love alone, content to know that you see, even when others do not. Let the unseen moments of faithfulness be my offering to you. Father, give me strength to serve even when I feel tired, to choose love even when I feel stretched thin, to keep going when discouragement whispers that my efforts do not matter. Remind me that no act of service is wasted, that every seed planted in love will one day bear fruit, even if I never see it. Give me endurance to keep giving when the results are hidden, to keep serving when progress feels slow, to keep loving when it feels costly. Let my service bring healing to those who are wounded, hope to those who are discouraged, comfort to those who are lonely, and light to those who are lost. Let it not be about what I can do in my own strength, but about what you can do through me. Father, make my life a channel of your mercy, a vessel of your kindness, a reflection of your heart. So this morning I dedicate myself again to service, not grand gestures alone, but simple acts of love, not only in moments that shine, but in the ordinary places where faithfulness is quiet. Father, give me the strength to serve as long as I have breath, to give as long as I have hands, to love as long as I have a heart that beats. Let every act of service today be my worship to you, my response to the grace you so freely give. Father, as I offer myself to serve with strength drawn from your grace, I realize that even in service, there is a longing that looks beyond today. My heart, though rooted in this moment, still leans toward what is ahead. Father, I need hope for tomorrow, not the shallow kind that depends on circumstances, but the deep and steady hope that anchors me when uncertainty surrounds me. Service without hope grows weary. Love without hope feels fragile. But with hope, even the hardest path becomes bearable, and every step carries meaning. I confess that tomorrow often frightens me. I imagine difficulties before they arrive. I picture losses before they happen. I rehearse failures before I have even tried. Father, my imagination too often paints the future in dark colors. But you remind me that my future is not defined by fear, but by your promises. You remind me that though I cannot control what is coming, I can trust the one who already holds it. Teach me to see tomorrow not as a threat, but as an opportunity for your faithfulness to be revealed again. Father, give me hope that rises above worry. Hope that steadies me when the news is heavy. Hope that whispers peace when anxiety presses close. Hope that believes joy can still be found even after sorrow. Hope that lifts my gaze from the shadows of what might be to the light of what you are doing. Let tomorrow not be a weight on my chest, but a horizon that calls me forward. I think of how your mercies are new every morning. Each sunrise carries a fresh reminder that the night has not won, that darkness does not last forever, that you are still writing the story. Father, let every morning become a prophecy of hope in my life, a declaration that no matter how heavy yesterday was, tomorrow still carries possibility. Teach me to wait for that mercy with expectation, not dread. Father, I ask you to give me hope not only for myself, but also for those around me. Let me be someone who speaks of tomorrow with faith instead of fear. Let me encourage the one who feels their best days are behind them. Let me remind the weary that the story is not over. Let me embody the truth that hope is not naive optimism, but trust in a God who never changes. I confess that sometimes I place my hope in things too fragile. In success, in stability, in people who may fail me. When those things crumble, my hope falters. Father, teach me to place my hope in what cannot be shaken, your love, your promises, your presence. Let that hope remain even when everything else shifts. Let it be a rock under my feet, an anchor for my soul, a light in the distance that never goes out. When I face seasons of waiting, let hope sustain me. When I stand at the edge of decisions, let hope guide me. When I walk through valleys of difficulty, let hope steady me. When I climb mountains of challenge, let hope strengthen me. Father, let hope be more than a feeling that comes and goes. Let it be a conviction, rooted deep, carrying me forward when emotions waver. Father, I think of Abraham, who hoped against hope and still believed. I think of Joseph, who held on to hope through years of uncertainty. I think of the prophets, who spoke of hope even when exile surrounded them. Their stories remind me that hope is not fragile. It is resilient, tested by fire, refined by trials, proven by endurance. Father, grow that kind of hope in me. Give me hope for tomorrow's struggles, knowing that none will arrive without your strength to meet them. Give me hope for tomorrow's opportunities, knowing that you will open the right doors at the right time. Give me hope for tomorrow's uncertainties, knowing that you are already there. Give me hope for tomorrow's joys, believing that laughter can still rise even after tears. So this morning, Father, I choose to lift my eyes from fear and fix them on hope. I choose to believe that tomorrow is not something to dread, but something to anticipate. Because you will be there waiting, I choose to trust that even if tomorrow brings challenges, it will also bring mercy. I choose to walk forward not with trembling, but with expectation, because my tomorrow is secure in you. Father, as I lift my heart with hope for tomorrow, I know that even tomorrow is not the final horizon. My life is more than the days I count here, more than the seasons I pass through, more than the fleeting joys and sorrows of time. Father, I need an eternal perspective, the ability to see beyond what is immediate and temporary, to anchor myself in what will never fade. Without this perspective, I get lost in the urgency of now, consumed by worries that will not last, distracted by treasures that cannot remain. Father, remind me that I was made for more than this moment. I confess how easily I forget eternity. I chase what glitters in front of me, only to discover its shine does not last. Worry about things that seem urgent today, but will mean little tomorrow. I hold too tightly to comfort, forgetting that my true home is not here. Father, I do not want to live small, trapped in the narrow frame of what I see. Lift my eyes to the horizon of forever. Teach me to live as one who belongs to eternity, not just to today. Give me an eternal perspective on my struggles. Remind me that the pain I feel now, though real, is temporary compared to the joy that is coming. Remind me that suffering does not last forever, that trials refine me for a glory beyond measure. Remind me that my scars here will one day be stories of redemption in your presence. Father, let me not lose heart when the weight feels too heavy. Let me see even my burdens in the light of eternity, where every tear will be wiped away. Give me an eternal perspective on my blessings. Remind me that every gift is from you, but also that no earthly blessing can fully satisfy me. Teach me to enjoy them with gratitude, but not cling to them as if they were my hope. Teach me to hold loosely, knowing that the greatest treasure is not what I possess here, but what waits in your presence. Let my gratitude point me upward, beyond the gift to the giver, beyond the temporary to the everlasting. Give me an eternal perspective on my purpose. I was not placed here just to survive, to accumulate, to achieve for my own glory. I was placed here to reflect you, to love deeply, to serve faithfully, to sow seeds that will outlast me. Father, remind me that my work is not wasted, even if I do not see its results in this life. Every act of love echoes into eternity. Every prayer whispered becomes part of a story I only fully understand when I stand before you. I confess that sometimes eternity feels far away, almost unreal. I live as though this world is all there is. But Father, eternity is more real than the passing days I see. Teach me to measure my choices, not just by their immediate impact, but by their eternal significance. Teach me to live as if heaven is near, as if forever is already breaking into now. Let me not waste my life chasing what will turn to dust, while ignoring what will shine forever. Father, let eternity shape how I see others. Each person I encounter is more than their present circumstances, more than their outward appearance, more than their failures or successes. They are eternal souls, loved by you, destined for forever. Teach me to treat them with the weight of that truth, to love them not for what they can do for me, but because they matter to you eternally. Father, let eternity shape how I endure trials when discouragement presses in. Let me remember that my story does not end here. When injustice surrounds me, remind me that you are the final judge. When loss cuts deeply, remind me that is not the end of the story. Let me live not with despair, but with anticipation, knowing that eternity holds restoration, justice, and joy that no one can take away. So this morning I lift my eyes beyond the narrow scope of my own life. I see the brevity of my days compared to the vastness of forever. I see the smallness of my worries compared to the greatness of your promises. I see the fleeting nature of my struggles compared to the permanence of your glory, and I choose to live differently because of that vision. Father, anchor me in eternity today. Let it shape my choices, my attitudes, my priorities, my hopes. Let it calm my fears, steady my steps, and widen my love. Let me remember that I am only passing through this life, but I am destined for forever with you. Teach me to walk lightly on the things of this world and firmly on the promises of the next. Let eternity not be a distant thought, but a present reality guiding me every moment. Father, as I come to this final chapter of prayer, I sense how each moment from the beginning until now has been a journey deeper into your presence, from weakness to strength, from fear to courage, from brokenness to healing, from darkness into light. You have walked with me through every word. And now, Father, all that remains is surrender. Not surrender as defeat, but surrender as freedom. Not surrender as loss, but surrender as gain. This morning, I lay down everything I am and everything I hold, trusting that my life is safest when it rests in your hands. I surrender my fears about what lies ahead, knowing that your perfect love casts them out. I surrender my plans, those carefully drawn maps that I cling to as if they could save me, and I exchange them for your will, which is far greater and more secure. I surrender my regrets, the mistakes that whisper, I will never be enough, and I rest in your mercy that declares I am already redeemed. I surrender my weariness, the burdens I have carried for too long, and I choose to let you carry me with strength that never fails. Father, I also surrender my victories, the moments where I felt accomplished, the achievements I sometimes claim as my own, the praises I secretly hold on to. I release them too, because I know that every good gift comes from you. Nothing I have is mine apart from your grace. Nothing I can boast of was earned without your hand guiding me. Let surrender strip me of pride, so that I may be clothed in humility, walking lightly and freely in the truth that I am yours. I confess that surrender does not come easily. My heart clings to control. My hands grasp for certainty. My mind searches for guarantees. But surrender is not about having every answer. It is about trusting the one who does. It is not about understanding every detail. It is about resting in the one who sees the whole. Father, teach me that surrender is not weakness, but worship. It is not resignation, but faith. It is not the end of my story, but the place where yours begins to shine through me most clearly. Father, I surrender my relationships, asking you to shape them with love and grace. I surrender my work, asking you to use it for more than survival, for more than success, but for purpose that reflects you. I surrender my past, with all its scars and stories, and my future, with all its uncertainty and promise. I surrender today, this very moment, with its challenges and joys, believing that nothing is too small or too great for you to hold. As I surrender, I feel a quiet peace settle in. It is not the peace of having everything fixed, but the peace of knowing I am not alone. It is the calm that comes when a traveler lays down a heavy pack at the end of a long climb. It is the stillness that comes when a storm finally gives way to clear skies. It is the deep breath of freedom after chains have fallen. Father, this peace is not from me, it is from you, and it is enough. Let surrender shape how I walk into the rest of this day. Let me be quick to release what I cannot control. Let me be eager to obey even when the path is uncertain. Let me hold lightly to what I love, trusting that your love holds it more securely than I ever could. Let me face the unknown not with fear, but with quiet confidence, knowing that my life is hidden in you. Father, I know that surrender is not a single moment, but a daily rhythm, a repeated choice to let go and trust again. Tomorrow I will need to surrender anew, and the day after, and the day after that. But for now, in this sacred moment, I rest in the truth that you are enough, that your hands are strong, that your heart is kind, that your spirit is near. To everyone who has walked this journey of prayer with me, thank you for opening your heart and joining in each word. This has not just been a path of language, but a path of faith, a way of leaning into the presence of God together. I believe that even as you listened, your spirit was being strengthened, your heart was being renewed, and your hope was being lifted. I invite you to share your thoughts, your feelings, your own prayers in the space below, because we are not alone in this journey. We carry one another in faith, and every voice matters. Let us build each other up, encouraging one another to keep walking, to keep trusting, to keep surrendering day by day. And if these prayers have blessed you, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel so that you will not miss what comes next. Share this with others who may need encouragement, who may need a word of hope, who may need to be reminded that they are not forgotten. Continue to return each day. Continue to pray. Continue to nurture your faith. Let us keep walking together in the presence of God. So here, at the close of this long prayer, I do not end but simply rest. I rest in the awareness that surrender opens the door to joy, to peace, to freedom. I rest in the truth that even when my words grow quiet, His Spirit is still near. And I rest in the gentle picture of morning breaking, light spilling across the horizon, a cool breeze stirring, a living stream flowing quietly through the land.